Egypt as a global destination. Before going into what makes Egypt so great as a global destination, it's important to first break down the historical steps that led to Egypt's success in being a global tourist attraction. A lot of the tourism points of interest that make Egypt so special have to do with human development, such as pyramids. So we must first ask, what brought humans to Egypt? Egypt is Africa's third most populous country. Why? Above all else, it's for its geographical advantage, the Nile River. People historically have chosen to settle by water and use streams for navigation. Egypt is home to the delta of the longest river in the world. The water flows south to north, which is not only advantageous, but was also the route early hunter-gatherers took when traveling north and beginning their parasitic globalization of this planet. As you can see, the river, which flows south to north, moves all the silt and soil nutrients from the rainforest of the southern parts of Africa to the northern part of Egypt, making it suitable for agriculture, settling, and farming, resulting in what is known as the Fertile Crescent. Every aspect of life in Egypt depended on the river. The Nile provided food, resources, land for agriculture, and means of travel and transporting materials for building projects such as the Pyramids of Giza. Egypt is part of what is known as the Fertile Crescent, or the cradle of civilization. Some other modern countries that occupy the Fertile Crescent region are Iraq, Turkey, Syria, Lebanon, Israel, and Palestine, these countries being powered by the Tigris and Euphrates River. Egypt also became an important figure in global trade and commerce due to its strategic connection to the Silk Road, as shown by the map below. Egypt's historical global reach. With its incredible 7,000 years of history, it has always held a central role in global commerce. It sat right at the crossroads of vital trade routes connecting Asia, Europe, and Africa, making it an international trading powerhouse. Egypt's significance in the grand scheme was accentuated by its two key Silk Road branches, one in Alexandria along the Mediterranean, allowing it to trade with the Roman Empire, and another in Cairo along the Nile River. These points served as critical hubs for exchange of luxury goods, fostering a historic commercial artery that facilitated the flow of riches from Asia to Europe. Evidence of these ancient trade relations can be seen in the discovery of Chinese silk in Egypt, with over 600,000 pieces unearthed during the excavations of 1912 to 1920. Notably, Egypt was a pioneer in glass production, responsible for bringing that development to Asia. All of this resulted in Egypt's three most populous cities, as they were major trading center destinations along the Silk Road, where many different cultures came together, exchanging ideas, beliefs, customs, and goods. Alexandria, Cairo, and Giza are responsible for Egypt being a global destination. Cairo being right next to the Nile River, and Giza being right next to the Giza pyramids, and Alexandria being in the north by the Mediterranean. Cairo has 9.6 million inhabitants, followed by Alexandria with 5.2 million, and Giza with 4.3 million. Cairo and Giza can realistically be lumped together as the same city because the only thing that separates them is the Nile River. They're sitting on each side of the Nile River, Cairo to the east and Giza to the west. Cairo and Giza are neighboring cities, both right next to the chosen site of the famous pyramids in the world. Cairo and Giza are the two cities sitting at the bottom of the fertile region of Egypt, so any traders from the south would take the Nile River up to Egypt, and from the east would take the Silk Road. Alexandria became a populous city as it was Egypt's port of trade for any traders traveling by boat along the Mediterranean. Why do people travel to these cities in 2023? Let's start with Giza and Cairo, as they were neighboring cities. Cairo, one of the world's oldest Islamic cities, boasts a rich heritage with its famous mosques, madrasas, hammams, and fountains. Its architectural treasures, including renowned landmarks like the Mosque of Ibn Tulun, make Cairo an attractive destination for tourists and a significant religious center. Additionally, archaeological findings have unearthed literature that provides insights into how medieval Arabians once described this historical, culturally significant city. It is the treasure house of the West and the emporium of the East, and its seasons are fruitful. Among the capitals, none is more populous than the city, which teems with great and learned men. Its commercial products and specialties are wonderful, and its markets and means of livelihood excellent. Its baths are acme of perfection, and its marketplaces are goodly and pleasing. In no city of Islam is the mosque so thronged with large congregations, nor are the people so richly adorned. Nor can any river bank boast of more boats than this. This was written in 980, and that is the book cover there in the center. The photo to the right is the Mosque of Ibn Tulun, which just shows the amazing architecture of the time and is a major attraction for tourists coming to Cairo. Another piece of literature found contains how a medieval Persian man described southern Cairo. In the midst of the houses in the city are gardens and orchards watered by wells. In the Caliph's Haram are the most beautiful gardens imaginable. Water wheels have been constructed to irrigate these gardens. There are trees planted and pleasure parks built even on the roof. That was written in 1052, and in the photos you can see the water wheels in which he is probably talking about. From Cairo, here is an example of one of the excursions a person who is visiting Egypt might be inclined to book. The tour involves desert safaris, waterfalls, sandboarding, and a camel ride. Your adventure begins with a convenient pickup from the doorstep of your hotel or in your chosen location in Cairo or Giza between 7 and 8 a.m. You'll hop into a modern air-conditioned car with comfortable 1.5-hour journey to the Wadi El Rayyan National Park. Your first stop is at the captivating Wadi El Rayyan waterfalls, which can be seen in the photo in the bottom left-hand corner, providing stunning contrast to the arid landscape of Egypt. Embrace the spirit of a Bedouin explorer with a camel ride and soak in the panoramic vistas of the Matawara Mountains, capturing memorable photos along the way. Brace yourself in an adrenaline rush during an exciting 4x4 Land Cruiser dune-bashing ATV adventure. It's time to relax at a Bedouin desert camp where you enjoy a delicious barbecue lunch and savor traditional Bedouin tea. They will return you to your hotel, marking the end of your memorable day. This tour is $99 per person and 9 hours long. In the grand scheme of global tourism, this is incredibly cheap for what you're getting. Hotel costs in Cairo. Hotels range from $20 to $110 per night, with an average of $46, far less than the United States. Even the Super 8, which is a 2-star motel by Wyndham, which is located by the stadium, on a non-football season night, its rates are $90, which is double these hotels, which are seated right at the 4 steps of the Giza Pyramid and Nile River. So it just goes to show how cheap tourism is in Egypt. Luxury dining in Cairo. To the left, we have the 139 Pavilion. This open-air restaurant in the iconic Marriott Mena House Hotel is a breath of fresh air from the crowds and bustle of Giza. Have breakfast, lunch, or dinner at this fountain-sided, surrounded by flowers, greenery, and, the pyramids. What a view! $48 to $70 USD is the cost per person. To the right, we have Khufu's restaurant, named after the Khufu Pyramid and King Khufu, which is also just known as the Great Pyramid of Giza. At the restaurant, you will experience an unparalleled culinary experience at the only remaining wonder of the ancient world, as so the restaurant claims, which is $60 per person. Here's a more middle of the road with a wide a range of food items from $20 to $99 per person, and it is seated right on the Nile River with fantastic seating and lighting of the city reflecting through the windows. Plenty of cheap options exist in Egypt. One of the options is to have fowl at the El Tabai El damiati, a local favorite. This affordable dish, a staple in Egypt, consists of fava beans cooked to perfection, served with a delightful mix of vegetables and tahini. You can customize it with extras like eggs, parsley, garlic, lemon, or sausage. Egyptians often enjoy fowl for breakfast, either in a sandwich or as a hearty dish with bread. And the best part? A fowl sandwich only costs 40 American cents. El Tawla de Damiati is renowned for its delicious fowl and offers a wide range of other budget-friendly breakfast and lunch options. You'll find their branches all over Cairo, making it a convenient choice for taste of authentic Egyptian cuisine. And you can see the menu below. A plain fowl sandwich is only 26 cents USD. Tourist attraction number 1, the Pyramid Complex, which includes the Great Pyramid of King Khufu and the Sphinx, is located on the outskirts of the Western Desert, roughly 5 miles west of the Nile River in Giza, Egypt. It's 8 miles southwest of Cairo's city center. Foreign visitors can enter the Pyramid Complex through the gate for an entry fee of $11 USD. This attraction has 14 million people visit the pyramids of Giza, making it one of the most popular tourist destinations in the world. Tourist attraction number 2. The Great Sphinx of Giza is a limestone statue with the head of a human and the body of a lion located on the Giza Plateau in Egypt. It faces east and is believed to represent the pharaoh Khafra. Admissions for adults is $9 and students can enter for less than $5 USD. This ticket grants access to the Sphinx's interior temples as well. What time of year is the best time to visit? The best time to visit Egypt, specifically Cairo, is during the spring and fall seasons, as during the summer it gets very hot with heat waves, and during the winter it gets pretty chilly. Surprisingly, Egypt has its fair share of the 4 seasons, even though it's a desert. Problems arising in Cairo and Giza. Cairo and Giza, 2 of Egypt's largest cities, grapple with pressing challenges in transportation emissions, water management, plastic waste, and rapid urban development. There's just way too many people living here. Tourist Ministry poll of insights. 58% of tourists to the Giza pyramids expressed concerns about safety, and 70% of respondents in the same poll reported the pyramids area as unclean. Very unclean. And when you have that unclean of a area, consumers are not going to want to come back, and so there is no establishment of consumer business relationship, which affects the longevity of a lot of these companies and loss in revenue for Egypt. So they are losing money by not just cleaning up the streets. Environmental concerns in Cairo are air and water quality, frequently ranking among the world's most polluted cities due to poor air and water quality, most congested streets, and the waste management challenges. Are long-standing waste management issues in Cairo have been contributed to environmental pollution and affect the overall attractiveness of the city for tourists. People are not going to come back. Well, they might. I mean, the pyramids are pretty cool, but it's very dirty here. So, transportation in Egypt. Egyptian public transport is on the whole pretty good. There's an efficient rail network linking the Nile River Valley, Delta, and Canal Zone, and elsewhere you can travel easily enough by bus or shared service taxis. On the Nile, you can indulge in feluccas or cruise boats for pretty cheap, while in the desert, there's a chance to test your camel riding prowess. For those in a hurry, Egypt Air provides a network of domestic flights. Transportation emissions. Egypt faced significant challenges in its transportation system, which in turn contribute to emissions and environmental issues. The country's rapid urbanization and population growth resulted in congested roads and surge in vehicle traffic, leading to elevated levels of environmental pollution. However, Egypt is taking proactive steps to mitigate these issues. Sustainable transport has become a fundamental element of the Egyptian carbon emission reduction strategy. Investments have been made in public infrastructure, including Cairo's Metro Line 3, resulting in a 13% reduction in the number of cars and 3% decrease in average PM10 levels in Greater Cairo region. To our right, you can see the map of the Line 3 and the train. Sewage water from slums and many other areas in Cairo is discharged into the river untreated due to lack of water treatment plants. Agricultural runoffs frequently contain pollutants from pesticides and herbicides, which have negative effects on the river and the people using it. As for the water flooding and irrigation issues, Egypt plans to build a parallel artificial river to supplement the Nile. A mega project of unprecedented scale. If successful, it could reshape Egypt's landscape, ensure water for future generations, and this opens a lot of jobs as well, so boosting the economy. There are plenty of smaller business startups in Egypt, such as Tile Green, a startup in Cairo, is recycling plastic scraps into outdoor pavers for walkways and garages, and in this case, in this photo, a kitchen, significantly reducing plastic waste, because when you recycle, you use what already is existing, and you don't need to make new stuff. It's called recycling. It's unheard of. It's great. They should do more of it. In addition to Tile Green, initiatives like Very Nile involve fishermen collecting plastic trash from the Nile River, addressing the issue of microplastics contaminating marine life and polluting drinking water. In Cairo, a unique group known as the Zabbaleen, meaning garbage people in Egyptian Arabic, have been vital in managing the city's waste since the 1940s. These waste collectors, sorters, traders, and processors, who make money off of the waste of the city, play a crucial role in Cairo's solid waste management system. There are approximately 50,000 to 70,000 Zabbaleen in the city region. They're responsible for 80% of Cairo's waste management, according to the Ford Foundation. There is need for government intervention to address this issue. One approach could involve implementing a modest tax on tourism sales without negatively impacting the local economy, to fund initiatives like the environmental friendly material mandates and increased cleanup efforts. If the government can provide free COVID masks, it should be able to prioritize funding waste management, considering the environmental and health implications. Signs of a declining market. In 2019, 13 million tourists visited Egypt, which generated revenues of $13 billion. But with the coronavirus pandemic in 2020, tourism revenues fell about 70% to $4 billion, with tourists numbering 3 million, according to Reuters. Despite this, Egypt in the years following has picked up traction. Signs of a saturated market. The sandboarding and other desert activities in the Cairo region are extremely oversaturated. There is an overpopulation issues for residents of Cairo, and with tourism being one of the region's main sources of income, there are far too many tour guides. In a bid to attract customers, sandboarding and ATV tour operators often engage in price competition, which can lead to lower profit margins and in reduced quality in some cases. This makes it difficult for operators to sustain their businesses in the long run. Also leads to consumer confusion, because there's far too many excursions to pick from, and so it makes each excursion experience a little less memorable. The market outlook for the next 5 years. The World Bank expects tourism revenues in Egypt in the next 5 years will reach 28 billion by 28, and in 2024 it's supposed to be 14 billion, so that's a doubling in revenue. So the market is looking very good, especially with the introduction of the Giza Vision Plan 2030, which the Egyptian government has made, and it is a comprehensive plan encompassing the Pyramids Plateau development, the Grand Egyptian Museum, an open Sphinx Museum, and the Khufu Avenue, including a 8-kilometer train monorail. The goal is to harmonize development and environmental preservation by judiciously using resources, safeguarding future generations' rights, and tackling climate change. This will result in more tourist attractions, which will draw more visitors, increasing revenue margins, better infrastructure, again attracting more tourists and creating more jobs, which will be created in various sectors such as hotels, restaurants, and tourism excursion companies. This also is very environmentally driven plan, which will increase Egypt's global image and make them look more eco-friendly, which will attract conscious tourists and again increase sales revenue for the region. That concludes my slides. Thank you.